everybody a few minutes today to join and check in, and we want to make sure that we can spend lots of time. I really would love to highlight my two guest speakers that I have today. So we'll probably um, start in just 2 to 3 minutes. But if you want to go ahead and say where you're from and if you've ever created your own create your own event before, we would love to see it. And this is Buster, who I keep trying to block from jumping in my lap, but has not been successful. Hey, Tracy. Come on, let's get down. Come on. Good boy. All right. Hey, Alexandra from Nevada. Nice. I'm actually in Arizona, and I don't know if Lisa and Rhonda, maybe you guys want to say where you guys are calling from in too.
From the Houston metro area.
Likewise, but I used to live in Utah for a few years, so love the Southwest.
Nice. All right. I'm so excited. Thank you guys again for joining me for this call. I'm just so excited to share both of your stories. This is going to be great.
It's our pleasure.
My pleasure.
And then I don't know if people can see, but we've got a little special furry friend in the back that's much more well behaved than mine.
There we go. You can see him a little bit. Look over this way. There we go. So there we go. There's a camera angle. There's Phoenix.
So cute. And we've got some folks, let's see, from Kansas. Hey, Jocelyn. And then Mary from Atlanta. Hi. Perfect. Well, we've got quite a few people, so I think we'll go ahead and get started. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Ashley Drew. I'm the National Director of Special Events here at Pet Partners. And then I've got two wonderful guests with me today, Lisa and Rhonda. Do you guys want to take a minute and introduce yourselves?
Sure.
Yeah, Rhonda, you go first.
Okay. I'm Rhonda Rogers. I'm an Episcopal priest in the Diocese of Texas, and I created a fundraiser to honor Lisa on Pet Partners.
Awesome.
And I'm Lisa Cressman. I am also an Episcopal priest, and Rhonda and I work together at the ministry I started called Backstory Preaching, and I am also in the Houston, Texas metro. And it was a huge surprise when I found out that Rhonda had created this fundraiser. And this, however, is the star. This is my beloved white lab, Phoenix. And he is a rescue. I don't know exactly how old he is, but he's probably about 14. And we had the partner therapy dog team for several years, and I'll tell you about some of our stories as we go along. But Phoenix was the best. I call him Phoenix the Wonder Dog because the wonders he brought into for patients and people we were able to visit with was extraordinary. As anybody who has done pet therapy knows, it's the best gig on the planet.
Oh, I know. I can't wait. And the story that she's going to share, and it might be a different one, but one of the ones she shared with us is absolutely incredible. So one of the reasons we're here is to talk about create your own events. And so I'm sure a lot of you guys are wondering what that means. And so create your own is a great kind of fundraiser. And I think we'll have like a little screenshot of our banner pop up in a minute. But from our tagline, when you come to our Create Your Own website, is to honor, remember, and celebrate. And each of these words really highlight what Create Your Own is all about. So a Create Your Own fundraiser is a different way that you can support Pet Partners and share our mission with your contacts outside of our traditional signature events, such as Treats and Sweets Day, which happens every April, or the World's Largest Pet Walk, which takes place in September. With a Create Your Own, you can actually leverage your passion and your talents to make a really huge impact in your community, such as what Rhonda did in honor of Lisa. And so as someone who's overly passionate about fundraising, such as myself, I can tell you that you can turn any idea into a fundraiser. And one of the reasons that we wanted to have this Facebook Live is when I saw their fundraiser come through back in the fall, Rhonda's really kind and thoughtful heart really inspired me, and I wanted to be able to kind of share that with everybody, because I think a lot of people either don't know what a create your own is, or don't know where exactly to start. And so we're hoping that as we share some of this stuff with you today, that you might, think back on, maybe this is something that you might want to do to help us within the next year. Because as many of you know, in the last 12 months, it's been pretty difficult and very different for a lot of people. The way that we celebrate birthdays, anniversaries, graduations, any other important milestones has really changed, because getting together isn't something that we're, able to do as well as we used to. And so with Create Your Own, I'm hoping that maybe in the next 10 months, you guys might be inspired to bring a smile to somebody or an animal that's impacted your life, to try and, do something that you may not have thought about doing before. So you're probably thinking, what are some sample events? And so we'll have, I think another picture is going to pop up, but probably one that you guys are most familiar with since you're on Facebook is people create birthday fundraisers for a charity that's close to them. So how many of you guys, and feel free to either like or post in the feed if you've either created a Facebook fundraiser for your birthday, or you've, donated to a friend or family member that's done that. And then, we're getting a lot of viewers too. Hey, Linda from Tucson, and Allison's in there from North Carolina. Sorry, I figured I might as well check the comments for a minute. All right, and so that screenshot's probably a little small for y'all. But some sample ideas for Create Your Own are the birthdays, like I mentioned. You can create those for yourself or in honor of your pet. You can also donate a talent. So say you can play a musical instrument really well, or maybe you're an amazing painter. You could donate some artwork that could be sold in an auction. Share the Profits Day is another popular kind of create your own fundraiser, where if there's a restaurant or a business that you frequent, you can ask them to donate a percentage back day to a charity of your choice. So those are a few of the ideas that you can do for Create Your Own. Some other options that you can see on the screen are memorial tributes. So when a person or a therapy animal has passed away, you can create a honorary page to celebrate their life, and you can share photos, solicit donations, different things kind of like that. But I'd like to also, turn it over to Rhonda and have you kind of share your experience of, creating your own event for Lisa and why exactly you chose Pet Partners.
Okay, sure. So Lisa is the founding steward of Backstory Preaching, which is a community and where we work together to improve our sermon preparation and our preaching. And in the course of the last year, when the world turned upside down with the murders of Aubrey and George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and the coronavirus and everything else that went nuts last year, it became much more than that. And instead of just getting tips on sermon prep and preaching, we also got spiritual retreats, and we've also got wonderful newsletters and photos and images and silence to just feed our spirits. And it was at no extra cost. It was just a gift that Lisa gave us out of her care for us, And so I wanted to give something back, but I wanted it to be meaningful and not just, send her a basket of fruit. And so I talked to a colleague, his name is Eric Miller, he's a priest in Ohio, and Eric reminded me about her in Phoenix. And that's when I contacted you to find out, is there something that I could do with Pet Partners? Because her husband, Eric, who was in on it from the beginning, gave me your name, gave me Pet Partners' name. And so I contacted you, and you sent me the link, and we began. And setting up the page was really easy. I actually did all of the typing in Word just because I wanted to get everything perfect before I put it on in the site.
Sure.
And Eric sent me, I grabbed that picture from Backstory Preaching, and Eric sent me a picture of Phoenix, which I don't know, it's probably operator error. I could not get it posted for some reason at all. And then I contacted Lisa's colleagues to get the email addresses of the preachers that were part of Backstory Preaching and sent them the link. And the rest just unfolded in a way that I had hoped for, but much more than I expected. It was fantastic.
That's so awesome. It's just so incredible. Lisa, tell me, how did you feel when I emailed you to let you know that you had been honored?
It doesn't happen very often for preachers that we are speechless.
Mm-hmm.
This was one of those times. I was so shocked. I felt like a little kid who kept sort of peeking under the blankets and then what and then I didn't know what to do with this. And so it took me a couple of days before I went through the comments and I saw people, those who had contributed and what they wrote, and crying off and on before I could get through all of them. And then I was still so taken aback. I didn't know how to say thank you to people, and it actually took me a few days before I even said anything to Rhonda. And I thought, I better say something because she's going to think I'm being really rude, like I don't care or something. But it was because I was so shocked. I didn't know what to say. And so I finally created some sort of fumbling thank yous of, I don't know what else to say except thank you. And it was, how wonderful, because obviously it's a cause that is near and dear to my heart. And I can't imagine a better way to contribute and to have other people be able to appreciate and enjoy the pets who come to see them and to support this organization. So it was such a win-win that, yeah, I'm still taking it in.
Well, it's so cool. Like, I don't know if any of our listeners think I just think this is really awesome. And then, Lisa, do you want to share a therapy animal story from any of your visits that really impacted your life?
Yeah, there were quite a few, as I'm sure everybody can attest who's done this work. Phoenix and I worked in hospice. We also worked with sexually abused children, and we did reading dog. And the first visit we ever made was one of the more dramatic ones. And we were the first pet partner therapy team for a hospice unit in Minnesota, where I was living at the time. And it was pretty funny because the volunteer coordinator wanted us to have a really good first visit because she wanted us to come back. She wanted it to be great for us. And I kept saying, look, I'm clergy and my first job in high school was in a nursing home. I'm good with just about anything. And she said, well, good, because I'm sending you to a nursing home. And this is somebody who has been dying for a long time of some form of dementia. And so you're not likely to get a whole lot of interaction. No, I'm good. Don't worry about me. So I took Phoenix up there to this nursing home where this man was a resident. It was a Sunday afternoon, and we got there late afternoon as they were finishing the evening meal. And the man's adult daughter, was there, had just finished feeding him. And it was she who had asked us to come see her dad, because her dad years ago had a black lab named Ajax. And dad loved Ajax, had died 15 years before this. But the daughter thought it would be great if a lab could come and see her dad. When we got there, he was sitting in one of those really high-backed chairs on wheels. So he was up pretty high off of the floor. And he had just finished eating, like I said, and so he was curled up like this. And as he had been for a long time, months. So I brought Phoenix in and introduced myself to the daughter, and she and I are chatting, and she's really excited that we're there. And every once in a while, she would lean over into her dad and, pat him on the arm and pat him on these, Dad, wake up. Dad, there's a lab to see you. Dad, do you remember Ajax? Dad, can you open your eyes? Nothing, just tight, drawn up like that. Nothing. So she and I would chat, and then she would try to rouse her dad. And this was going back and forth, maybe for about 15 minutes. And we weren't getting anywhere. And so I said, well, what would happen if I tried to bring Phoenix around? Because where he was sitting, the height of Phoenix's head, seated, would get him just about at armchair level height. So if we could bring one of his hands down, we could maybe help him stroke the top of Phoenix's head. And the daughter was, well, yeah, what do we have to lose?
Sure.
So I bring Phoenix around and I get him all positioned, and we slowly, gently pull his arm down. And we got him so the top of his knuckles got down and just barely touched the top of Phoenix's head. And he's like this. And his eyes opened, and he was back. He was alive. There was light in his eyes. He was clear. He was home. And his daughter was right in his face. And she's really startled and, kind of jumping back. And I'm really startled. And she doesn't know what to say. And she says, Dad, do you remember Ajax? And clear as a bell, he says, oh, yes, I do. And then he leaned in and he gave her a kiss. And then he went back into whatever dementia world he was in. And to my knowledge, that was the last cognizant thing he ever did. He lived for several more months, but that was the last knowing thing he ever did. And when it happened, the daughter's crying and I'm crying, and, he hasn't done that in months. He hasn't kissed me in months. And that was the gift that only a dog could bring. There was nothing else, I'm sure, that could have evoked that kind of a reaction. And so that's why he is Phoenix the Wonder Dog, because only a dog can work wonders like that.
That's so awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, I'm just, every time I hear these stories from our therapy animal teams, like there's so many of them that these incredible moments happen that you can't explain and you can't understand, but the power of the human animal bond is just so incredible. And so I thank you so much for sharing that.
Oh, my pleasure. And I was able to go back to that volunteer coordinator and said, oh, really? You had nothing to worry about. We had a great visit. Let me tell you all about it.
Oh,
She was, of course, you can imagine, she was thrilled. So we were off to the races after that. It was great. Yeah, as you all know, that for people who are animal lovers, we bring in, sort of just an animal. I mean, they're all special, but they're just animals. But what they can evoke in people is so disproportionate to them being ordinary household loved members of our families. But it's so over the top what they can bring out in people. And it is the greatest gift to be able to bring these animals to people for those moments of healing and hope.
Yeah, that's just amazing. And this is exactly why Rhonda felt so inspired to celebrate you. And the whole point of the Create Your Own is this can be something that anybody can do. Anybody can
Mhm.
celebrate the amazing things that you do in the community. Um, I think we had shared a picture of the screen, but like on your Create Your Own page, people can leave really wonderful messages when they make donations.
Mhm.
And so Lisa was able to scroll through there and just to see all these amazing comments from people who have unconditional love for her and for what she does for her community. And it's just so incredible. And then if we have any of our community partners that are watching, some fun Create Your Owns that you could do is to maybe celebrate the anniversary of when your group was founded, and you could have a Zoom event, and you can invite any of the facilities that you visit at to join or make a donation. Because it's what we do needs to be celebrated. And so there's just a lot of fun ways that you can do that. Or April is Volunteer Appreciation Month. And so another thing that you could do is you could honor any renewing teams that passed their evaluation or any new teams that had passed, like in the past year. Again, you could do kind of a Zoom thing. We can help you set up some fun things, create little invitations, but to kind of bring people together and let them know that you love and you care about them, and you can continue to spread the mission of what Pet Partners does and what you guys do for the community. And same if there's any facilities that are joining us today. Maybe there's a therapy animal team or teams that have made a real big impact on your staff or your residents that you'd like to highlight or honor. Creating a celebration page for them is something else that you can definitely do with our website. And it's fully integrated with Facebook. So we do Facebook fundraising now, and it'll post on your behalf. We've got a really amazing new platform that I believe we've posted in the chat box. So you guys can go and check it out. But yeah, here's a little screenshot. But when you go to petpartners.org/create your own, up in the top right hand button, when you click register, this little box will pop up. And if you select that register with Facebook option there on the left, it'll just automatically pull and post for you. You don't have to write any of the content. It's super simple. The website's also got a lot of really wonderful resources that we've come up with. There's over, I think, 115 different ideas that you can turn into fundraisers. So if you don't want to do a birthday, or if you don't want to do a lemonade stand, or, maybe it's, baking is your thing. There's just so many options. And then also right now, honoring those first line workers, first responders, healthcare workers, that's another thing that we can do too, because so many of our teams volunteer at hospitals. So again, and then for even some more outside the box ideas, I don't know if Tiger and Duke are watching, but Tiger did a really cool carnival fundraiser in the fall in honor of the world's largest pet walk. But she created an auction, a raffle. I helped her create some other flyers and stuff, and she was able to raise over $1,000 by having this carnival at a retirement facility that her and Duke visit at regularly. So there's lots of different fun things you can do where your community will support you and get behind you. She was also able to get a local business to make a little sponsorship donation to help underwrite the costs for her to put that on. So, I mean, the possibilities are endless. And so I hope that you'll consider checking out the website, and definitely, reach out to us, or if anybody in the chat box. I haven't seen any comments coming through, so I'm hoping my screen isn't frozen. Yeah, so if anybody else wants to reach out directly, I'm happy to work with you to come up with something that would be perfect for you or your group. And then I don't know if Rhonda or Lisa, if there's anything else you guys want to share too.
Well, I will say that it was, like I said, it's very easy to do. If you've never done it before, don't worry about difficulty. The website is easy. It was easy to set up. And the other part of it too is that the joy that I felt And all of the people who were able to honor Lisa by their donations and their comments was priceless. And to watch Lisa stumble and fumble over her gratitude was also priceless. Not because we wish to call her pain, but because we know it meant so much to her.
Yeah.
And that was why we did it, because we wanted to do something that meant a lot to her as well as honored her.
Absolutely. I just think it's so cool to, you know, think outside that box and to honor and celebrate somebody. I think, you know, putting that out there and, you know, more people that are watching, you know, can kind of keep that at top of mind and think about different ways that we can, you know, celebrate and bring joy to somebody's life, I think is really important. And then Lisa, did you have anything else?
I always have more stories to share. So.
Well, perfect. Well, I appreciate everybody tuning in, and I appreciate both of you guys for agreeing to come on here with me and share your story. I think we're good, and Buster's coming on to say hi. Classic. But thank you all so much, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, and thank you, Rhonda. Again, thank you
You're
so
welcome.
much.
Thank you.